Hello, my name is Ben, and if you're here, you probably wanted to learn how to play Starfleet Battles, or you're looking to play Starfleet Battles online. And I recently started learning how to play Starfleet Battles. I started about 3 weeks ago, and I chose to learn to play it online because I live in a place that is pretty remote. Not a lot of people to play with. Thought I'd find some people online, and I did. So here is the kind of the things that I ran into that were difficult and had to fix. Okay, so let's take a look at Starfleet Battles online. We'll log in here, and this is the window. It has several of us in here today who are messing around. And over here on the right-hand side is the games. So we can see that Librarian 101, he has a game named Fed, and Vander has a game named Funk. I'm going to create a game here, and we're going to use the Cadet Starfleet Battles rules, and we're going to call it Holodeck. And this is the window we get. So we need to choose a scenario. We're going to choose scenario one. And if you have just a demo account, if you have just the basic account, you're not subscribed, you have the choice of the Federation Cadet or the Klingon Cadet, I believe. If you subscribe, you get more options. So please subscribe and ring that bell. Anyways, I'm going to just keep it on Federation Cadet. Going to hit start, and I get this window. Now, this is where I ran into some problems right away. It's like, what do I do next? And the problem I ran into was due to the fact that only about half of what you need to play the game is actually here. Now, to be clear here, this thing right here, the board and the pieces, they are not the game. This is a playing aid to allow you to play the game. You need to know the rules. You need to understand how the pieces move and things like that. And that means you need to buy the manuals and game game materials like you normally would from ADP to do so. It's just the way it is. This allows you to play with somebody thousands of miles away. This is what this thing is. It's not really a game. It's a play aid. So I'm scrolling in. You could also zoom in this way and zoom out that way. This gives you the numbers on your hexes if you like to have that. I think we can deal without that at the moment. But the first problem I ran into is how do I move my ship? And that is a problem because there are several ways to move your ship, and some of them are correct, some of them are more correct, and some of them are not correct. Right now, we are in the land of not correct because I can move this piece, you pick it up, drag it, move it around wherever, and it's moving it, but it's not actually moving it according to the rules of the game because we are not actually playing the game yet. We are in, it says right here, turn impulse 1.1. That's not true. We're actually in turn 1.0 because in the traditional game, what you have to do is you have to do a step before this one to then get into the turn. The guy who programmed this um, took, I believe, the work that he had done elsewhere and tried to just make it kind of fit. And so we have kind of some weird tweaks we have to do here. So I'm going to, uh, how do I get rid of that stuff? Um, I forgot. The other thing that um, can be kind of difficult is remembering where things are at, because some things are not in the most convenient of spots. Okay, well, I can't do that. It's easier just to do this. Close this out, create a new room, and start over. Because that's how I'm going to roll today. I'll deck 2. Start this up. Keep all that other stuff. Start. Okay, so we're back to here. We're not actually playing a turn yet. So the first mistake I made when I was learning is not playing in turns, just moving the chits around. Because you could do that. You could actually use this just as a visualization aid and like a game board. And if you had the digital rules or you had paper rules, but you just didn't want to get out your pieces, this is a way you could play and just move the chits. So there's that. As the client way of playing, we need to click next. Now, notice it says down here that these pieces are on the board. It says turn and impulse 1.1. When I click next, it should say 1.2, right? You would think so, but in fact, it says impulse 1.1. Ship speeds 8, seeking weapon speeds 8. That means these are the pieces that get to move. And in this scenario, everything moves 8, so we all move every pulse, every impulse, because there's only 8 impulses in a turn in this scenario. Normally there's 32, but in this case, there's 8. So how do I move the piece? Well, again, I could pick it up and move it, but according to the instructions in the scenario, you're supposed to turn the ship. Well, how do you turn the ship? Well, if we come back down to move, we can change the facing and move to, probably you want to move to and then change the facing. Um, I say that because that's, even though that's wrong, you should change the facing first and then move to. I think it's going to throw an error. Well, let's try it. First of all, let's turn on our pieces here. Move to, and we want to move to 210. And we want to change our facing to P. See, it didn't throw an error there. Normally, when I do it the other way, it throws an error. It shouldn't. This is, you should turn first and then move. This is just something that's weird about the client. And it doesn't, I don't run into this a lot because I do my movement a different way. So I'm going to undo the move. First of all, I'm going to change my facing again, back to A, and then we click undo move. Okay, the way I do it is I use another window. And you can find that window in 3 different ways. One, you can right click here and come down until it says show game control. And then it has also control L, so we can do it just as a keyboard command. I tend to use it as a keyboard command, but this is the window we're looking for. Let's close that. Let's do control L, find it that way. And then I just found this today as I was messing around uh, working on this video, that if you go to up to where it says add piece and then um, remove a piece, if you go next to it, it says view list of all the pieces. There's the list of all the pieces, and it has all this stuff here. So that's the 3 different ways you can get there. Now, I like my window to be slightly different size, but it's always a little bit of a bugger to get the bottom of that one. For me, I might just be special that way. What I prefer to do for my movement is use this space over here. So I'm going to click on a piece, and I could do it by clicking like I just did, or I can click on a piece like that by clicking it, selecting it in the piece layout box, or the piece box, and I'm going to move like that. Everything else is going to move also this turn, so I'm just going to, this does not move, that stays there. So ignore that one. I don't even know if you could move it, but if you can, just leave it where it's at. It's giving you a piece of information. Okay, so everything moved a turn. I'm going to click next to move to the next impulse. Next, speed 8, weapon speed 8. We're all going to move again. Now, if I was to click next, and you can do it either down here or up here, you can do it either way, and I didn't move something, I get an error that shows these pieces have not moved. Do you want to continue anyways? No, we don't. Um, but in case we did. So this handles movement. Let's move one more time just to move because we need that to get to the next thing I want to teach you. Okay, now I'm not going to spoil how to win this scenario for you, but the next thing we need to do is to shoot a weapon. There's two ways of doing that. You can either hit the fire button or activity. Activity tends to be the better way of doing things in this game, especially when you play the more advanced game. And the reason why is you get uh, this window here, which you can give a text order if it's something that does not have a rule segment to go with it, or um, it can be something from this window here, which gives you a list of things that happen in order. So the first thing that happens is that we announce speed changes and change web passage status. The next thing that happens in an impulse, you should change fire control status. The next thing that happens is actively deactivate cloaking device. Now, you don't have to worry about any of this to play the scenario one. The scenario one is designed to just teach you like one or two things, but this exists here. We're going to be looking all the way down at the bottom, the last thing in our impulse step, which is the fire decision step. But close this for a second. I'm going to turn off my mic for a moment so I can cough. The other way to do it is fire, and this is like a shortcut. Takes you right there. Well, again, we have that same menu. It's just that it's already selected it for us. So that's a speed saver. Uh, Now, if I wanted to shoot my phaser one here, phaser one number one, which is the one I would use because we're in the front arc at this drone. This is drone D. Um, this is what happens to do uh, to do that. Now, this window popped open and everything worked okay. I've seen this happen though, where stop, go back, where you click the fire button and this window does not appear, which is not true. It does appear, but then it immediately gets put in the background like that. At which point you have to go find the window. Okay, so if you ever run into a situation where you hit the fire button and it's like, where's the window? It's probably hiding. Okay, so we're going to click on our fire button and now we're going to choose a target. Don't choose yourself. We want it drone D. Mode is standard. That doesn't do anything. If you needed to change the type of phaser rating you are shooting, you do that here. Again, something you don't have to worry about in the first game. But you have options. We're at range 3. Now we're going to hit execute. And that's going to tell the client to send this message out to everybody, which is this one here. It says, do not show in the future. Do not touch this box. Leave that box on. This is your check that your orders are going to be correct. This is your final check before you send things out. So if you want to change something, this is the place to do it before we do that. And we change it by hitting cancel, going back here. Okay, we're going to hit OK. And that's when this order is sent out. And it's down here. Phaser cap used is 1. Constellation fires phaser 1. Front arc at drone D. Nothing else happens. This just announces what you want to have happen. To make it happen, you're going to have to roll the dice. Now, there's two sets of dice. There's one dice by itself and two d6 by themselves. The 2d6 is actually the sum of the 2d6.
The 1d6 is obviously the sum of just 1d6. To change the number of dice, you would do that here. You can also do it over here. So we're going to roll one dice. We got a 6. That's not great. I know it's not great, but how would you know it's not great? Well, we're going to click on this gun looking thing here, and that's going to give us our phase of 1 chart. We're at range 3, and that means that we are, uh, sorry, range 3, range 3, and range 3. This is the roll. Don't know why I'm misreading this chart. That gives us 3. We're going to click on the 3 just so I can show you this. That puts that number down here. I'm going to clear that. If I had shot 5 phasers and they all hadn't come up 6s, I could click this 5 times, 2, 3, 4, 5. It adds it up down here, and you can display that. Again, just one, display it, displays the damage that was done, shares it with everybody, and then it's up to the person who's controlling that to assign the damage. Now, a drone takes 4 damage to blow up, so we did not kill the drone. I'm going to apply damage though, and then say it's 3, not 32, 3, and boom, it's still there. Okay, so we've got 2 problems solved so far: how to move a ship, how to fire your weapon. Again, if you're following along with the rules for scenario 1, you know you can only shoot each weapon once per turn, and you're not using photons in this one, I don't believe. Okay, the last thing that is a problem in this scenario with the client is what happens on turn 1.9. So we're going to just click next, and we're going to skip 1.3. We're going to skip 1.4. We're going to skip 1.5. We're at 1.7. We are at 1.8. We're going to move our ships just now to show you how this is going to throw an error again. Let's say we didn't want to fire because we don't. We just want to click next, go on to the next turn. This is going to be 1.9. I should be able to move again, right? I'm going to click on my guy, click forward. It throws an error that this piece has already moved, but I didn't move. If you click on any other piece, it also didn't move. The problem here isn't about movement. It's that the normal game has 32 impulses, and this version of the game only has 8 impulses per turn. And the solution that the programmer came up with was to create this problem of things not being able to move. What we want to do instead is click next till we get to 1.32. And the number we're looking for is right over here. Also shows up down here. 132. Okay, so this would be the end of a normal turn in the full game. After, if I try to move again here, it's going to throw an error because it's not happy with the turn. When we go to turn 2, impulse 1, we are now able to then to fly again. Okay, so those are the 3 problems I noticed when I played this game at first, and I hope that helps solve your problems that you're having. 1, how to move. 2, how to shoot. 3, what to do when it's saying I can't move and yet I haven't moved. It's just that it's not happy with the turn. Okay, hope that helps you out. Have a good one.